Welcome back to another episode of In My Xperience on the JPEG podcast. I'm your host, Jean-PaulGedeon, and today I have a very special guest who you may know, and if you don't know him personally, you've guaranteed seen his work out there. Rob Burns, my friend, aloha, and great to see you again.
Aloha, can I call you JP?
Call me JP, call me Jean-Paul, call me whenever you want.
So anyway, thanks so much. Good to see you.
I want to jump in. Rob Burns, if you live in Hawaii for as long as any time, you're going to know who he is. He's the founder of Locomotion, the chain of surf shops, also Hawaiian style clothing, the Hawaiian style band, as well as Island Snow at some point. I think that was in there. And let's not forget Kahala Sportswear, those awesome Aloha shirts that we still see today. So, Rob, tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in Hawaii, and who is Rob Burns? I didn't know who you were until I met you, and I was just blown away. So can you kind of tell us about yourself?
Sure. John Paul, it's a real pleasure to be able to speak to entrepreneurs, business people like yourself. And I was very impressed with you when we met that one time for lunch and talked. And it's just fabulous. And there's so much excitement and I would say regeneration of spirit in entrepreneurship, and you're a perfect example of it. And I guess I was too. I was very much like you in the sense that it had was grown up here, raised here. My mother's half Hawaiian. My forefathers came back in 1820, the Western guys, and they married into royalty on both sides of my grandparents' side. So on Kamehameha, the great's right-hand man was Hewa Hewa, and that's my grandmother's side, who was comes from the people that were the first boat off the in America back in 1678 or whatever it was.
Wow.
Yeah, Boston. Long time ago. In fact, her name was Priscilla Alden, but she was half Hawaiian. And my grandfather was a Holt, H-O-L-T, from England. They came out here with John Dominus, whose son eventually married the Queen, Liliuokalani, and we've been there ever since.
Oh my goodness. I've never met someone who can trace their genealogy back that far.
Right. There's so many of us around.
Yeah, no, this is not. All right. So early life. So you kind of told us where you came from. Early life, I heard the story about Locomotion. That's what really caught my ear. And I met your daughter, Natalie. But I heard you started Locomotion because before that, the surf shops were really like you got to be real cool, or they're not treating you right. Or why did you start Locomotion?
Well, I thought there was a void of local spirit in the surfing community. They were mostly sort of I would say California mentality. It was sort of like, yeah, I'm cool, and who are you? What are you doing here? And it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It got me excited to have a more local service-oriented shop with really an experience of Hawaii versus coming to Hawaii to experience California. And it was that sort of motivated me to open stores and be very service minded and really help people find the right equipment and pay attention to them, look them in the eye and understand what they need and want.
So did you start off with one shop and move from there, or how did it start? Like, how did it all come about?
Well, I started making surfboards when I was about 14 for myself, because I didn't have any surfboards. I saved my lunch money, 25 cents a day, till I bought a surfboard. And that was my first surfboard. And then I started making surfboards for my friends and then myself, and then started getting some income and started delivering blanks to Kalapawai supermarket shop. It's down in Kailua. It's a little store. It was there since the 20s or 30s. And one of the owner's son was a fiberglass glasser. He glassed the board. So that's how it started. It was just necessity for myself. And then I started making some money, and then I started working for Lightning Bolt, and I was the premier shaper for Jerry Lopez, put his name on the boards, and he signed, I signed it with his name on it.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So, I was the only guy that was able to use his shaping room, and there's about 25 people that shaped there, and there was 4 rooms, and I had one all by myself whenever I wanted to go in there.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's how it started, and I borrowed $3,000 from my dad's brother in California. He was a comedian, comic writer, kind of a sitcom art director, writer, and he produced a lot of shows that you would know, from Mary Tyler Moore down to the cartoons and Bullwinkle and Rocky and Munsters and all that stuff. Well, he was raised in Hawaii and went to Punahou, and then he went to California when he graduated, went to college, and then started his career. So he lent me $3,000, and then I started because I only had $25. I was sleeping on the couch at my cousin's house. He's a Hawaiian family that's always willing to let some refugee sleep in their house.
Refugee couch surfing.
Yeah. So that's how it all started.
Wow. Where was the first store you said? Where was the first locomotion store? Like when you actually kind of solidified, like I'm going to get a retail location, my own thing, and then you planted that flag in the ground. Where was that?
That was in Kailua, and it was really interesting because I woke up in the middle of the night after coming back from my trip in California where my uncle lived, and I was amazed how much attention and people were buying clothing, more than you ever needed. I had no shoes, maybe one pair of shorts. In fact, my shorts were red and white, and the white part reflected the sun, and the red part went through, so I had a Hawaiian print on my okoli. Because I wear the same shorts every day and then when that one broke, then it ripped, I got another one. But it really shocked me to see that there was people that actually buy clothes. And it was my uncle and my auntie and my cousins that were just buying every day, clothes, caps, shoes, this, that. And when I got back to Hawaii, I just said, I think I'm going to open a surf shop. And that was it. I woke up at night and I didn't sleep for 36 hours, just writing down simple notes like 1 and 1 is 2, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. And then from then I started in Kailua, a little store, called up a friend of mine. We went to go have breakfast, and there was a little store. It's about 400 square foot. It was $225 a month rent. And so we pulled right in, and it was a great location right across from the police station. Now it's a 7-Eleven, but nice landlord, Mr. Honda. And my friend Teddy Tanabe was, his father knew that guy, Mr. Honda. So he called him up and he said, yeah, I have a son your age, and if no one's going to give you guys a chance, then how can we expect you to produce something if no one gives you a little handout, little hand, reach out and help. So it was key to my success. Great location, and being able to locate a store right away was pretty good.
I remember my first memory of locomotion was Locomotion Coca Marina, because I grew up in Hawaii Kai, and locomotion that is the surf shop in Hawaii Kai to this day in Coca Marina. That's like the core shop. You get the guys who work at Kaiser High School usually come and we're working there. My friends work there. That was my first instance to know, surfing. Started surfing China walls and Port Lock. I would go into the store and I could see what was cool, because what was ever on your shelves, I would say, oh, that's cool. This is Volcom. This is Billabong. This is Sex Wax. Oh, it has the word sex in it. That's cool. It's like funny stuff. And I still look at the windows today, like what's featured out there, and it kind of gives me the pulse of what's going on in the surf industry, besides Instagram and Facebook. But how many stores did you expand to, and why? If you can tell me, why did you open these stores, and how many did you have at the height?
I had 7 at the height, and I really don't know why I opened them. I just had opportunities. I had Kaneohe Windward Mall, then Coco Marina, Pearl City, Lahaina. And, when something came up and they asked me to come, we just went, and we just figured we got to grow the business. And there was no real game plan to expand and do this or do that. It was just do our best and figure that the benefits would come to us as we deserve them.
So I remember you're a marketing genius. As much as like you're a low key kind of just cool guy that's everyone's best friend, you are super smart. I remember MTV Real World. That was like the best show, like reality show on MTV, and you guys had them working at the Waikiki location. Were you involved in that? Was that still during your time, or was it after you sold the business, or?
Yeah, just when I sold it, they built that store and they came up with the idea and they did it. But I've been accused of being a genius in marketing, but I mean, I'm just a common sense thinker. Like everything that I do, I think about. There's a saying. Basically, anyway, I forgot what it was. It was something like design over use. So, I would think about more like, how does this work? How can it work better? And then try to make it look good. So that's, probably I'm a thinker. And I think a lot, and I admire some of the stuff that you came up with. Similar way, you have a need, you design something, and it works. And your benefit is not only that you make money, but you're taking a gamble on yourself. You say, hey, I can build this, I can make that, and then it's really a satisfying accomplishment when you're able to do something like see that it really works, and you're really excited, and then you go, yeah, I did it, I can do it.
Exactly. It's like you just watch what, I don't want to say consumers, I don't say consumers, I say people, like watch what people need, where there's a way that you can facilitate something and help out. And that's kind of like the no nonsense approach. I want to ask how you built from Locomotion, and then I didn't know that the Hawaiian style band, Kahala Sportswear. Why were you adding on different lines? I mean, I think it makes perfect sense. Can you kind of explain like why you started adding these different lines on that were like your own house brands, and were they separate entities?
Well, there's, I didn't want to really divert from try to make certain things for people that didn't like them. And actually, although I can see what people want, sometimes I can see what they want before they know what they want. And I think my wife told me that she read this Steve Jobs book, and he says, people don't know what they want till they see it. And I was able to see it before they could imagine it, whatever it was, whether it would be colors or, Hawaiian style type of things. And, I just thought that, I just went by my gut feelings, and tried to produce product and stuff that people would be proud of, stuff that they might have never thought of. Also, I wanted, because of my tradition, my background in being Hawaiian, I really noticed in my years, in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, there wasn't much emphasis on Hawaiians anyway. So I wanted to kind of remind people that we're in Hawaii, and that we have a different way of doing things. It's friendlier, it's aloha, and it wasn't really being brought up through the surf shops. And I wanted to bring it into the lines that I had purchased. And to be honest with you, I don't even know why we bought all the lines either, but it just happened that way. If people offer us, and if the price is right, we might buy it.
Make a deal, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. So okay, let's kind of fast forward a little bit. So we heard about where you came from, a little bit about the businesses you built, which is super iconic, still iconic today. I mean, awesome. And then the next step in the evolution after, when did you sell Locomotion, and did that include all the brands?
I sold everything. All the brands, I sold it in 1991. And it was about, I think it was in May. And yes, all the brands, I wanted to get out. The market was developing in such a way that it wasn't what I wanted to do. It would be like, it was really going for streetwear, what I call crime wear, like baggy this, baggy that. And it's just like, if that's what I got to do, then I'm going to sell out, because I don't want to do that kind of stuff. So
wow.
that's one of the reasons why I sold out. And it turns out that there was a big recession at the time with, there was a war. It started just a month after and so forth. And, the timing was really good. And I've been accused of having good timing as well. So I go with my gut feeling, and that was one of them. I said, I've had enough. It's time for me to leave if this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. So staying true to yourself and the core values you had, and timing just made sense. I mean, we see how important timing is today. I mean, imagine people with retail stores today is just tough, to say the least. Is tough. So what did you sell it to Murakami Sports? I read about that. Is it Murakami Sports?
Minami Sports. It was
Minami.
100-year-old sports store, and they had about 70 stores. The stores were buildings. They were, like 10 stories. Each story would be like baseball, football, golf, surfing, blah, blah, blah. They were real big time. And they ended up going out of business after 100-something years. So timing is everything. And it happens today. Everybody's struggling. Quicksilver basically went bankrupt. A lot of big companies went bankrupt. And when I got out, people first said, "Oh, well, you shouldn't have done it." And then after a couple months, I was a genius again.
Don't ever underestimate Rob Burns.
Well, that's funny. And one of my friends told me this, and because I also play some musical instruments, he says, "Rob, you always deliver. And like, if I say I'm going to do something, I'll do whatever it takes to get it done."
Yeah, I've seen.
So, I take ideas from other people. I'm not like a soul mindset guy, but if they tell me it has to go this way and I say it should go this way, then it goes this way, and then it ends up working. Let me give you an example. I made a real estate commercial for one of my properties that I happen to own. And it was a video, and it was when I made the song, one song that I made, it was a 4-minute song, and it was Hawaiian style. It was a really cool song, and it ended up winning awards, like 7. In Hawaii, we have what they call Nahoku Hano Hano Awards, which is like Grammys. And they told me I couldn't do it, and that's my biggest motivator. When someone says you can't do it, then I want to do it, and I'll show them. So we ended up winning Band of the Year, Song of the Year, Group of the Year, 7 different awards. But
wow.
One of the things that I did afterwards is when I got my real estate license, I was going to enter in a video competition, and the guys that I was working with, I said, "This is what I want, and this is how I want it." And they said, "You really shouldn't do that. You shouldn't have people in it. You shouldn't have words. You shouldn't have this. You shouldn't have that. You got to keep it short, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Well, do it my way and we'll see." And then I ended up winning an award for it, because I understand people more than, like some people do. And also there's people that go to school and stuff like that, and they don't really understand. They just go by the book, and they say, you have to do this, you have to do that. And when someone tries to educate groups of people that are all different, they try to come up with something in the middle. And that's not where I want to be. I want to be outside the box, not inside the box, struggling with everybody else.
Yeah, trying to fit everyone in a box, and like your message becomes vanilla. You don't have your own flavor to it. It's just bland, because you have to appeal to so many people.
Right. And one of my things that I did was that I really enjoyed was going to elementary schools and teaching kids about entrepreneurialism and, how, if you're a good student, that's fine. I'm not saying that it's bad, but I definitely am a strong proponent of people doing what they do best. And if it's not school, if it's running, if it's making something with your hands, whether it's yard work or whatever, that's what I think, if you're good at it, you're usually happy doing it. And so much emphasis has been put on going to college and, getting a great job. If you're not working for yourself, you're working for somebody else, and you'll never get rich that way. As you know.
Yeah. So touching on success, what is success? How do you define success? Because by society's standards of like financial success and achievement of building your own businesses and, exiting them, selling them, and thriving, and now continuing to thrive. Is that what success is, or what is your definition of success?
And that's a great question. For me, it's being the same person you are, but you have more money, which makes your time more yours. In other words, some people want money, and I want to show I have the most toys, and I have this and that, and I dress this way, I have this kind of car. For me, it's like I can do anything I want. I got the time. I don't waste my money on trying to make somebody else think I'm really cool because I drive a certain kind of car or wear certain kind of clothes, talk certain kind of way, So I really I like to be a good person, and so I have to say that there's so many people that I know that are very wealthy, and they have everything, and they could, that the society says they could have properties, money, women, whatever it is, but they don't share they don't share much of what they have. Almost like I can't trust anybody because I have so much money, and they're just going to like me for my money. So they hoard it and they don't share it. And then, so it's like, it's almost laughable to me. And like, I like to share. I like to get a bargain, as you know, but it's not to make more money so I can have more things. It's more that I can give away. Wow. And so like, I don't know many people that give as much money that I do to like garbage men. I love to give them $100. I go to the dump, give the guys $100, and not trying to show off, but I said, you're a really good worker. And I really appreciate you're the garbage men, policemen, firemen, they're essential workers. The rest of the government, we don't need any more laws that they can't take care of. They can't even enforce. So I want to get those guys enthused about their job and saying, at least somebody, one guy at least, I know he appreciates it. And that's to me is success, as well as sharing with other people like yourself and anybody that wants to, learn about business, whether it's real estate, retail, manufacturing of whatever I can do. I love to help because, that's the biggest, that's success, is having the time to help people and share all the little nuggets that you've learned along the way, buying houses. I have some people that call me up and ask, who do I vote for? Or I want to sell my house. What shall I do with it? And I tell them everything. I'm not getting paid, and they're just smart enough to call me up, and I'm smart enough to help them because helping people is really and then when it works, it's like I did it, but I didn't have to do all the work. And to see the success is the same, whether you do it or someone else does it.
Right. I think you gave the validation when, someone's doing their job well, whatever it may be, even like a garbage guy at the dump. And then for you to reach out and give him $100, he's just like, knows he's doing his job well. It's a validation. It's a motivation. And you're paying it forward. Like you're giving a helping hand, not a handout, because he's not just sitting back. Like, you recognize what he's doing. You're like,
Right.
you know what? Do this. So maybe that's going to push him to do more, or just keep him doing the same thing and providing for the community with his job.
Yeah. And, I'm not trying to brag or anything. I wish people would think of the value that they get by helping somebody. It's
empathy. I think you got empathy right there, and caring and sharing. And
I try.
Yeah. So, when I first met you, I was just starting a clothing brand called Ideal, which is one of the hats I'm wearing, one of our designs, Life, the whole surf life. I remember I went to your house in Portlock with Natalie. I think it was after a surf session or something. And I said, hey, I want to give your dad a shirt. So I came in with the shirt. It was a gray shirt. And I kind of like copied a Volcom design, kind of like looked like a ransom note letters. And I gave it to you. And you were looking me straight in the eye. You didn't even look at the shirt. And you started going like this. You started like feeling the fabric. And I'm like, it was like a Hanes heavyweight, like $2 shirt. And I was like, oh, I'm going to realize I'm feeling like a fraud right now. Like buying cheap shirts, trying to sell for $20. And you're just like, oh yeah. Oh, hey, oh yeah. Like, you were just like kind of motivating, but you were like, in your mind, the gears were turning. Like, I know this is rough shirt. This is baloney. And I think you pulled the ink and it like cracked because I didn't cure it correctly. So I did all the wrong things, but I was motivated to ask you. I was like, you know what? This guy's done it. I look into his shop and like copy the designs that he's selling. So I asked you, what would you do differently if you could do it all again? And the answer you gave me at that time, this was probably in 2000 or 2001. You said, I would have sold wholesale. And you were referring to Locomotion because that's all I knew of you back then was clothing. He said, I would have sold wholesale. I said, why? I wouldn't need brick and mortar locations and I could sell way more to everyone. And it hit me there because we were kind of transitioning already from that brick and mortar model to click and ordering online. And that was just the beginning. And I was like, wow, this guy is smart and not what I expected. You're like a real brother. You're like the most brother guy in surf shorts and like uncle status, go to the beach. I was like, this is not the guy. I was expecting like a suit or like an Aloha shirt or with, fancy leather shoes. I mean, your house was super fancy. Like it had a big cutout ceiling where it looked like a ninja was going to jump in and attack us and right on the cliff of Portlock. It was super nice. But you were not the guy I expected. You're like, are you working for Rob or something? Are you really him? It was weird. So I got to say, don't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
Especially if you're reading the story of Rob Burns.
Well, I really appreciate people that are themselves when they don't have to be. And usually I've had landlords that are just like this one guy who was a billionaire Japanese guy, and he had no shirt, a little bit shorts and no slippers. And he would have his oxygen in his nose and sit across the street and watch us work on the building. And when he came in and I had a feeling he was the owner because of the way he looked, because the guys that look the junkest usually are the owners. Yeah. Seriously. And so when he came in, I thought, he goes, he's looking around. And then he goes to sit on my couch because I had couches in the retail store. And I knew he was all sweaty and kind of, stinky because he's been sitting in the sun. And just, let him sit down. And then he gets up, he looks, he goes, I own this building. He owned it. And he just loved what I was doing to it. And he owned several buildings in the area, and he had a house on the ocean over there. And I've had a couple of landlords like that. And you'll never know that they're the landlords, but they have, the mind. And then once you get past a certain point, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You can wear whatever you want to wear. I wear pareos around all the time.
No kidding. Really?
Yeah. I have 90% of a day I'm in a pareo because they're so much more comfortable, and it adjusts to the size. You pull it to every time. So only when I leave the house, then I put on shorts.
So Rob, when we met, you rolled up in a Toyota. Was it a Toyota Tacoma, like a green truck?
Yeah, 2002.
Also, not what I expected. And you were you were in a t-shirt, just like a normal dude. And then I think you had a bunch of signs in the back of the truck or something. Like you were doing something that
Politics.
yeah, you were doing politics. You're representing it. I just didn't expect that. I really didn't. I thought I was gonna see like a fancy Tesla, like a Porsche SUV. I mean, again, because I haven't seen you in almost like 19 years from when I first met you. I just still a preconceived notion in my head of what society and the media and all the stuff I look at, books and I read of what success is, right? So you've been along this journey. It's very clear you want to give back, and not only through $100 to someone, but through mentorship and teaching. So just by talking to you personally, it's helping me. And as we share this podcast and the episode out, it's going to help other people too who are in a time of their life. Maybe they lost their job right now out of no fault of their own. So we have the big reset. People say you live, the new normal. Yeah. I say it's a time for a reset. It really is. This is the time when you can actually make a shift because of the internet into anything you're interested in. People are around the world. There is guaranteed thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of people who like what you create or the same topic. So from seeing right now, what's kind of some of your advice or experience share that you could say if someone's kind of on the fence and not knowing how to start and analysis paralysis, how do you get started with your own thing and how do you take back your freedom?
You get the best questions. They're awesome.
I'm asking for me, by the way.
Hey, what I think is really important is to work at something that you would work for free. You do it for free, but you're getting paid. And so what that means to me is that you really enjoy it, and it's not like you're even working. You are working, but you're just loving what you do. So if you can find something that you love, you're probably going to be good at it. And so do that and just look around and get a feel for how you can capture some of the market and how you can stay in a position or start to be in a position where you are controlling your life, because life is quick. I mean, 20 years ago, that was seems like yesterday, when I saw you the first time. And
yeah.
And, my kids are in their 30s now. Pretty soon they're going to be getting gray hair and everything. It's like, you got to do it now, Don't wait. Whatever it is, like you're driving by, you see someone throwing away a table or a bike that you like, stop now and get it, because, life is quick. You got to be on it and enjoy it and share it. And I will say that I never read a book in my life until I sold my company. I never read the Bible. I never read anything in school. Maybe a paragraph or a page, but never a book. And so when I sold my company, I went to Fiji and I was staying out in Tavarua. Friend of mine says, "Hey, I'm a boat guy. I was thinking about buying this place." I said, "You should buy it, man. Look at this. You got perfect waves and you got, this is a great lifestyle." So he ended up buying it. So I went out to his place in one time, and one of the things he did was he thanked me, but he offered to let me come anytime I want, for free and stay there. And it's the thing, giving back to people, you don't realize, and it's not that traditional, but when you help people, you're helping yourself. And I would say help people, because they can be successful. There's so much money out there. There's so much freedom. There's so much, so many good things that you could get pass you by, and don't get caught up in the here and now. And when I went to Fiji, I read this book. It was called The Millionaire Next Door. And it was exactly my life. And all my friends that are rich, it's their life too. They were junkyard dogs selling, scraping, working, doing whatever they were doing and making it and living with like watch, Casio watch. I've had people say, "Hey, what kind of watch is it, Casio?" I said, "No, $10 from Walmart." I don't care, And so, if you get a chance to read any book, it was a bestseller. It's called The Millionaire Next Door, and it talks about the people that were C students like me. Because honestly, I cheated. I cheated to get a C, but I could have done better, but I didn't think it was, I don't like to regurgitate. And that's what I think school is. We're going to tell you stuff, and the guy with the best memory is the smartest. He's the best guy, but he can't think. So I'm a thinker. I'm not a regurgitator. So please do read that book. I got nothing. There's other great, fantastic books, much better than any education you can get in college or in normal schools, private schools, or whatever. Funny enough, they don't even sell the stuff like Dale Carnegie's How to Make Friends and Influence People, and all these Zig Ziglar and all these different people who have actually done stuff. And I hope that people realize that getting stuff is not the end, sharing, but it's also, don't put yourself down because you're not a good student, because you don't have to be a good student. Most of the guys that are billionaires, all the tech guys, they never went to college.
Yeah.
And if they did, they quit the first year.
Right. I was just about to say that.
Too slow. You got to roll. You got to go fast, because things are changing. And everything you said is so true. Is that there's millions of people out there that could work anywhere, in their house in Timbuktu or Kaneohe or Waianae or whatever. There's so much opportunity nowadays. It's not the horrible life that some people say that we're in right now. It's a great time.
So I have a question now about, as you're building an organization, a little more tactical here. We're talking about a lot of different things. As you're building an organization, how many employees did you have at the height? Do you remember?
Of course.
Payroll.
115. I'm really good with remembering numbers. So
sounds like it.
Yeah. It just sticks with me because it's kind of common sense, if there's 75 or 115 or whatever, I can remember that. So I had a lot of people, and my thing with them was always this: I want to teach you how to become your own business person. You open your own store, whatever it is, food, retail, whatever. If you don't like it and you want to leave, I'll give you 3 months to go out and try something else. And then if you don't, I'll hire you back without no penalty and no hard feelings. I had one guy left, and he came back in 3 months because it's tough out there, and people don't realize how tough running a business is. There's so many problems, long days, but one of the things that I would say is I would say a gift for hiring the right people. I can tell people that are good and bad. And one of the things that I would recommend for most people, because they might not have that gift, would be to look at their personality and give them a personality test. There's usually 4 types of people. And when you find out what they love to do, that's the position you put them in. So they're not only do they love to work, but they're good at it. And so they're happy. And that's the best thing to find employees that love what they're doing. If you're really good at numbers and they teach you, they want you to sell to people, or vice versa, you're going to be miserable. You're not going to be very good at it either. So try to figure out what kind of mentality you are. It's easy. The tests are all the same. They all lead to the same conclusion, which is who you are.
So my wife just got home. Did you hear that? Hi, honey.
Yeah.
Hey, she loves me and I love her back. I give her the wink. So, okay, this is some things that I'm going through as well. When you have a team, how do you know who's the right team for the job and who's going to grow with you? You know, when you're starting out, you probably didn't have over 100 people. You may have had a small core. And how do you identify who stays, who goes, who has kind of changed over the course of employment, and maybe you invite them to, move on to other things? How do you do that? And how do you identify who's going to grow with you to where you need to go?
Well, for me, what I did was I would look at look into who they are. And I could say for example, my two top guys were hired. I hired them not because they went to USC and Yale and were, excellent in business, but because when you're a wrestler, you can take pain. You don't give up. You keep fighting. You get on the mat. You get pinned down. You come up. You're going again. So I want fighters, and I want people to come back with a vengeance. They come back, and they never give up, and they're good people. And if you put them in a position, because those two guys were also business majors. One went to Yale on a wrestling scholarship. The other guy went to USC, went to Kamehameha schools. Then he went to USC. And he was just a good guy. And his USC entrepreneurial college professor told him, your parents are wasting your money on this course. You should just take the money that you're giving to school and start your own business. And that's, it's what I do with all of my employees. I say, you can look at my numbers, concentrate on what we're doing, how we're doing, what we're doing, and start your own. Because, you could start with something like what I did, or it could be a store, like a food chain, or, whatever you want, lawn mowing business. I have a lot of guys that went in different directions than surfing. And one of them became I don't know how successful they are. They're pretty good. Food and fast food and stuff like that. And, there's so many ways to make $1, and whatever way you want to make it, that's the way you should make it. Like you are. You're very, impressive, and I love the way you did things and, how you think.
Wow. Can I quote you on that? Can I put it like a testimonial on my
website? You got it. I'll sign it.
All right. Perfect. So I say, here's another word, a word that is a song too. RESPECT. Find out what it means to me. How great does respect play in growing your organization, achieving your dreams, and reaching a level of achievement and success in the business world, with your team? What role does respect and loyalty, I want to tie those together. What does that play?
Well, very, very high, right up in the top. In fact, for me to hear guys like you say, oh, I'd love to hear what you have to say. And that's respect. You're not saying, hey, you might say, I really respect you, but I can tell you respect me by the fact that you want to pick my brain, which is great, and that's success. When people copy you, I don't get mad. I feel good because they're copying me and they see the value in what I'm doing, so I don't try to, shoot for respect, but it's really it's one of the big bonuses that you get when you get respect, People tell me that all the time, they really respect me. Back in, one of the glassing shop guys told me, I was at a funeral. He says, hey, Rob, I wanted to thank you. About 40 years ago, I asked you, if you had one thing to do differently, what would you do? And I said, hey, you should buy some real estate, commercial real estate. And he bought it, and that, you can't buy that kind of thrill and the thankfulness and, that you're helping somebody's life beyond what you ever imagined. And that's what it gets me going. It keeps me going. And it's those kind of guys like yourself and just, people I run into all the time. And they'll say stuff like, hey, remember about 30 years ago, you did this and you did that. And I'm all like, I forgot, but I believe I did it because, I love to help people, kids, old people, young people, my age, whatever. If they ask for it, and sometimes if they don't, I just give them a little tip, like take all this stuff in your windows and take it off because you have a business here. Don't be doing karate, It's like putting everybody else's business in your window, and then you lose business because you can buy tickets for the thing, but whatever. But don't clutter your windows. There's little things like that, or change their menu or whatever. Especially if they go, hey, really? Well, who are you? They, try to tell them that. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about, but most of them don't listen because I don't look like I'm a successful guy. A lot of people don't listen to me.
Yeah, so I hope they listen to this podcast. I need these. So you're probably talking about like mom and pop, like restaurants, fast food kind, plate lunch place where all the club promoters would put up the posters in their windows for maybe free or whatever. And I think they're probably trying to, give back, but there's a certain level where the aesthetics of your place to be inviting, to represent your brand and have a clear message and cleanliness and all that plays into it. So that's some sound advice, even for people today.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you have a bricks and mortar store, you have to promote it, and you have to, there's a lot of little details that, as I see them, I just bring them out because I don't have the memory or the time to come back and, unless somebody says, hey, would you come in? And like, I do stuff all the time, meet with people, whoever calls me up, I'm going to be there because it's huge. It's like being a successful business person, helping somebody else become successful is the big treat. It's a huge treat. It's like saying, hey, you deliver, Rob delivers. And, if somebody says something like I was showing some multi-million-dollar houses yesterday. And they said, I went over to the house and I'm walking around and going, oh, that looks good. And I'm like picking dead leaves out of the trees. And I said, I'm not trying to say that your yard man doing a bad job, but it looks a little better if there's no dead leaves in the tree, pulling them down and stuff. And they're like, wow, this guy, he just does it. Like I plant stuff. I help people to get them going so they can see how much and how much better it is and how easy it is if you just do it.
You see it, you saw it, you did it.
Yeah.
And you continue to do it. Like it's in your DNA. Like it's in your DNA. You see it, you're gonna pick it. You're gonna pick up that piece of trash.
Right.
So as we, the journey of this conversation right now, it really led to a topic that is really close to my heart and relevant. Mentorship. Did you have mentors growing up? And if so, can you share who they were?
Well, I have lots of mentors, but none of them knew that they were mentoring me. I like to look at the people that are doing it wrong and say, that's what I don't want to do. It was simple. Just like when I opened my surf shop, I looked at the competition. I said, I'm never going to treat people like that. We used to persuade our workers to go take someone like you don't have something, call up another surf shop, another surf shop, another surf shop until you find it, and then would throw them in the car and drive them over there to get it. It's like, what? People don't do that. And then those guys, for life, they shop at our store because they know that they're number one with us. They're not just, give me your money, So I probably lost your question, but
I would say, do you have any mentors?
Oh yeah,
the guys who
the people that did it. Yeah, I had a really nice uncle. He was a Hawaiian hobo, and he was a drunkard, and he had PTSD from Korea, and he was very nice person, but he was all kind of shell shocked and everything. So I said, I don't want to be like that. So I'm going to quit taking drugs and quit smoking pot. And I mean, I didn't want to be like a burden to my family, to my wife, girlfriend. And so he was a burden to my family because they had to take care of him and shift him around to all the different brothers and sisters, things like that. And I said, I'm not going to do that, you know?
Yeah.
He says, you never eat my house. So that meant if you don't eat at someone's house or they don't eat at your house, you're not really friends. You're just acquaintances. And so I have a high priority on inviting people over for dinner, which I'm going to ask you right now.
Speaking of inviting people over, I want to invite my wife.
All right.
To make an appearance. Because
Okay.
she's the love of my life. And ever since I saw her, before I saw her, I already was in love with her. Hey, Holly, can you come by and make a quick appearance to our guest?
While eating M&Ms.
She's eating M&Ms. She can't hear you because you're in my ear, but.
Hi, keep it real. M&Ms.
Hi, keeping it real.
Awesome.
Hey.
Bye.
Right there. So she's going out to Waimanalo right now. Go take care of our other kids. We've got a couple of horses out there, and she's equestrian, fluent in French. Beautiful, beautiful piano. She can play the classical to anything rock or hip hop and R&B, reggae.
Oh wow.
She's a chameleon. You should hear the music that resonates through the halls of this house. It's absolutely the best of the best, the highest of the.
Does she read music or just play by ear?
She plays by ear. She doesn't need to read the music because she knows all the notes, whether it's on like a xylophone or a guitar. Like she has that gift, which I don't have.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at we film Facebook Lives and people are just giving a request, on live, like, so she'll start playing the song. And it looks like she's reading music until I zoom in on the sheet. And it's just a bunch of names of songs. There's no notes there, just names of songs. It's just a magic thing. So, yeah, inviting her over. So, Rob, were you about to invite me over for dinner or invite yourself over to my house for dinner? How is this going?
I'm going to have you over at our house first. And then if you want to invite us, you can.
All right,
it's
deal.
Nice. It's a nice thing, when people eat it, meet each other, sit face to face. It's not just food. It's not a love fest either. It's just that get to know somebody for real. It's like golfing with them, When can you guys come over?
Well, let me check with her. She is the very
activities director.
I was gonna try to say something else, but she's the activities director.
Yeah, so is my wife.
I'm gonna use that forever.
My wife calls herself something like a domestic engineer or something like that.
I was gonna say boss, but
that
boss.
too. Yeah.
Hey, Rob. So we didn't really touch on this part. So we kind of moved past the mentorship, like the come up, and then where you are right now. Drive along Kalaniana Ole Highway. I'm driving from, say, Kahala to Hawaii Kai, and on the right-hand side of the road, I saw your face on a real estate sign hanging off a wall of a very, very nice property on the water. And you told me something pretty interesting about that marketing tactic you used. So I asked you about it. And I said, Rob, I mean, you're just representing all these really high-end properties. And I mean, that's looks like what you went into after you sold your business. You went into residential real estate and you excelled there. I saw you all over. And the best marketing was I saw your face and the name Rob Burns, East Oahu Realty at the time. Just every time I drove down that road from Kahala to Hawaii Kai, every single day I saw Rob Burns. It kept drilling me in the head like, this guy is the one to call for this type of house. And it was a very nice property on the water. I think you told me you might have contacted them and said, let me list your house for maybe more than it's worth because you knew the power of the exposure. Am I remembering this correctly or am I making things up?
No, I don't think you're making it up, but it might have been, I told them that I could sell the house for something that they wanted to sell it for. But I don't tell them. I love to get signs in the ground. It's free advertising. But if they want to sell $1 million house and it's really worth 700, I'll tell them that it's only worth 700 in this market. Someday it'll be $1 million, but I can try to get more than 7. But don't hold me to it because I'll do it. And a lot of people won't. A lot of top agents, it's like, I'm not going to waste my time. I only have so minutes and days in my life, and so I'm not going to do it. But it depends on the people. I've quit many a multi-million-dollar property for the because of the reasons that, like, I don't like the guy and the way they're trying to treat me. Like one guy says, "Oh, where's all the stuff that's where's it missing?" I'm like, you got a pool guy, a yard guy, a live-in guy, and they're letting in people into the house. I don't know where anything is. What I'm going to steal? Your ashtray? Why would I want that? So I quit. He goes, "You have to stay at least 30 days." I said, "No, I don't. I quit." You don't want me. I'm not going to show the house anymore. I quit. So I do all kinds of funny things like that. But right now I had a long election period. I worked for some of the guys. Kili Aquino was one of my main guys that I not only worked for, but I told him I'll work for free, but I have to have all the decisions. If people start coming in and saying my sister's brother's uncle is an artist and he wants it with these colors, I said no, I quit, because I'm working for free and I'm really good. And I did a jingle for Kili, and it won this song jingle of the year for politics in 2016. I don't know if you heard it. The beat was to the updated high pace, fast pace Kaulana Napua, and then it cost us $100 to do it. It was my wife and whoever was there. We wrote it on a napkin or a yellow sheet, wrote the words out. It came out just like we wanted it. And people were going, "That's the best jingle." And I had people actually tell, like this guy, Mike Buck, was interviewing people that sent in early ballots in 2016.
Right.
And he says, "Hey, would you vote any differently if you had, you sent yours in right away?" He goes, "Yeah, right away. As soon as I get it." He goes, "Yeah, the only thing I probably would have voted for Akina if he would have, if I would have heard that jingle first, because I love that jingle. I would have voted for him, guaranteed."
Wow.
And I had several people that came up to me and said, "Hey, I heard you did the jingle for Akina." Same thing. So, it's fun to have successes, and you can't hit home runs every time, but you can keep trying and adjust the swing or whatever. You're a great entrepreneur. I'm stoked to be on your show.
Yeah, man, you can't stop with one thing that could be a failure. It's like a speed bump in the road of life. There's gonna be a lot of speed bumps, potholes, flat tires. Fix the flat tire.
Yeah, get up and go.
Yeah, get up and go. Get a spare. If you don't have a spare, well, it looks like we're walking, but keep moving forward.
Yeah, I know.
I got a story for you about hitchhiking, real quick. So I was in Costa Rica with my brothers, and it was Tamarindo. Are you familiar with Tamarindo?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I went to Costa Rica before too.
Yeah, it was really nice. I think it was 2007, like before the whole crash. Like people were investing a lot, Americans, in Costa Rica. So we're like, hey, it's safe. So we go there, we're on a surf trip. We end up going to this end of the road, no street lights, no paved road, like probably 20 miles away from where we were staying. And I had my ideal stickers and I was passing them out after a surf sesh, like the sun was going down. I only had surf shorts. We had 2 Nissan Pathfinders, and there was like 10 of us. So we all loaded in our boards. I loaded in my boards. But I said, I got to go promote this to these cool surfer guys here in Costa Rica. That's my whole plan. So I'm giving out these stickers, and I see one Pathfinder drive away. I'm like, okay, cool. I see the other Pathfinder with my brothers driving away, and I thought they're joking, like they're gonna, push the brakes. But they kept driving, and then it's getting dark, and they abandoned me at the end of the road in Costa Rica, and there was only like 2 vehicles left, and they were leaving. I was like, oh, and I don't speak Spanish. So I had to knock on this window of this really shady looking, kind of gangster looking truck. Click, click, click. I open it. Just the Pacalolo smoke come rolling out, right? And I'm like, maybe some other people would be scared, but I was like, these guys might be actually in a good mood. I was like, I'll give you these stickers right here and some shirts. You understand? Like, I'm not wearing a shirt, but I'm like, shirts, these stickers. They're like, Nina, like, I'm going to take you. I was like, take me 20 miles down the road back to where I'm staying at the surf shack. We pull up into this old shanty town with like dogs everywhere and like kids everywhere. It's like nighttime. I'm freezing in the back, and ended up made it back to my place. But the moral of the story is end of the road, nightfall, 20 miles away from where we're staying. I don't speak a lick of Spanish, but I had some stickers and I could barter my way back. I walked into the hotel room. Nobody like knew anything. I straight to the bathroom because I was kind of mad. Slammed the door and I heard, "Oh, you guys gave Jean-Paul a ride, huh?" No. "Oh, did you guys give it?" No. They're like, "Oh, we left Jean-Paul." I was like, I come out, I'm like, "Man, put me anywhere on God's green earth. I'll triple my worth."
That's
Something
right.
like that.
Yeah.
Can't hold me back, man. Just like you.
Oh yeah. I thought you were talking about. I had a situation like that in Costa Rica too. We went to the end of the road, and there was this little bay and had waves, and I thought, "What? No one's here." So I went out, and as soon as I got out, I said, "Something's fishy here," you know. So I went straight in. So I found out that there was freshwater and saltwater alligators there.
What?
So I went in. So we just kind of looked at, "Oh, let's go." And all of a sudden, the water in the river rises and it's just rushing. And it was like it was a storm back in the mountains, right? So we wait. It's getting dark. Me and this guy in the Pathfinder too. We're like, "Just chance them, man. Let's go for it." So we're driving underwater across the stream, and the lights are going into water, and then all of a sudden we go up the side. Oh, we made it over, you know. And it's like I thought you were going to talk about me. You heard about a trip. But I recently I went down to Tahiti, and we were staying by Chopo, and my wife and our friends that own that resort, they said, "Hey, you should go paddle down the next valley is beautiful." So I went down there. Oh wow, what a nice thing! And then I look at the end of because there's no roads even to get to my friend's house. So I said, "I'm going to paddle to the end of the island." So I start going. It's about 3:00. Going. Pretty soon, wow, I better go back because it's starting to get dark. And then I see this pole and the water's going like this, the rushing, just strong. So well, I got to go to the end. I got to make it. So I go to the end. And as soon as I make the turn, I'm going backwards. So I pull over to the right-hand side by the mountain, by the land. And I go all the way back. And by the time I get home, it's about 7:00. And I'm looking at the ridges, trying to imagine where I started. You know, I'm watching the skyline. I said, "I think that one over there." So I keep paddling. All of a sudden, I hear my wife and all these people. They're drinking up on the beach. I said, "Hey, I thought you guys." I pull up, and they're, "Hey, hi." You know, I said, "Well, I thought you guys would at least send somebody after me. It's dark, you know." They said, "We know you can find your way home. Just keep going, man. You just don't give up ever."
Survivor. They like, you know, Rob's got this.
Yeah, and I'm not going to give up for sure. If I had to, I would paddle on the side and sleep, you know, but you know, overnight. But that's an entrepreneur. Never give up.
Yeah, resilient, just making the best of what you have. So you seem like you're really happy. You seem very happy. You're doing what you want, and you seem like you have a love for not only people but real estate. Your business part right here. Is that just keeping you busy, or is that something you really want to be doing? So why are you selling and representing, you know, buyers and sellers with real estate in Hawaii?
I love it. It's a business. It's something I enjoy. I can add value to the property by fixing it up. I know where the money should be put to make more money. And I'm not trying to make a career. In fact, this year I'll probably only sell 3 properties, but I make enough money that it's worth my time, and I love to do it. It's part of sharing, because I can come up with some ideas that nobody thinks of to add value. I mean, like right now, if you had $9.5 million, I could get you a free beach property that's insane in the area, but you have to have $9.5 million to enter.
Rob, I think you told me 8.5 like on the weekend. Did
Well,
you just
it's
raise the price on me?
It's listed at 9.5, but you can get it for 8.5.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's a deal. It's a deal at 9.5, but the deal will work. But you make more money if you get it for less. So we wrote an offer for 7. Not me, but my client.
Uh-huh. So you
They
see
didn't
the
take-
vision. You
Yeah.
see the vision.
And it's a matter of how much money you make, but if you get it, if you offer too little bit, you may not make the money because somebody else pays 8.5.
Mhm.
But if you get 7, then you make $1.5 million more.
Right?
And if you get 9, you can get a house for $1 million on the ocean, Portland. So
yeah.
it's just a matter of how you do it, and most people don't think about it. They don't take it to they just see what it is and they go, okay, well, that's the way it has to be. No, it doesn't have to be like that.
So are there any properties in Portlock on the water for 1 million?
No, you have to. There is if you make it. You got to make the million. So you got to buy a bigger property, sell everything off, and then you have $1 million property on the water.
But just by listing, you're not going to find like 1 million, 1 million. And maybe people on the mainland or like continental US may say, oh, $1 million. How far does that go in Hawaii? Like Hawaii real estate? How far does it go?
It's average home. Just something that you would buy for $150,000 in the mainland.
Mm-hmm. What is the best time to get into real estate or to purchase a property?
There are seasons. You're right. Well, the best time to get into real estate, meaning like sell it or buy it or sell it.
Buy it.
Buy it. Well, okay. This is very simple. Look at it. Think of it like a stair step. You have a 5-inch riser and an 11-inch tread. It goes like that through your life. If you get in at the top, you're going to have to wait 11 years for it to go up. And once it starts to go up, you go, oh, I'm so sick of this. I want to get rid of it. If I just break even, I'm happy. So as it goes on, the next 5 inches, 5 years, most people sell right there because they broke even. They didn't lose any money. That's where you lose money because you want to buy it at the end of the tread and you want to sell it at the top of the riser. That's the best thing. Buy low, sell high, right?
Yeah. That's so interesting. You just made it so simple, like a stair.
And when you know it's the highest is when it says in a newspaper, new high records, then it's time to sell. If you don't want to sell, don't sell. But if you want to make money, you better sell because it can go flat for 11 years.
Wow, you need time. So what kind of market are we in right now? It's November 23rd, 2020. Is it high? I see a lot of people that I know. It looks like a lot of sales being made. We're members, actually, the Honolulu Board of Realtors. We're the allied members because, we do advertising and support the agents and brokers.
Right.
But what kind of market are we in right now? What are you seeing? And can you share that?
Yes, sir. What's going on now is it's flat to going up a little bit. And it's only because the riots, not the COVID, but the riots. People are leaving the cities. They're fleeing the cities. They're being taxed out of where they live. They're going to the suburbs. If they have more money, if they have enough money, they'll go past the suburbs all the way to Hawaii. And so people that are over here are saying, I don't want to put my house on the market because of COVID. It's going to keep it down. So the last 3 properties I sold have been off the market. And the people call me up, hey, would you sell that? Sure, because I've been waiting for the season. The seasons are day after Christmas and May. Those are the 2. That's like back to school and Christmas, right? Similar. You can catch a fish in between certain times when they're not supposed to be biting. But when the fish are biting, you want to have one hook in the water so you can catch a fish. So you increase your possibility of selling or selling high, and conversely, if you want to buy September, October, November, even up till the December, because people are not really interested in real estate. So it's a good time to sell I mean, buy. I mean, you want to buy it in that slow time, and then when it slows down, and right before May, so maybe March, April, depends on schools and a lot of things. But the best time to buy is September, October, November, December, and October is probably the best because it's not. It's a far away from the next group of people that are going to come. Push the locals off the fence. They've been sitting waiting for it to go down more, and then all of a sudden they come in airplanes and they start, hey, let's buy here, and then they have to jump in, and then it gets to be a frenzy. It's pretty simple when you break it down. And there's always a renegade somewhere buying at the wrong time or selling at the wrong time, but basically that's it. And this year's been different because there's so many properties that have been taken off the market because they weren't selling, because people were wondering. And now with the riots and everything, they're like, who wants to live in that shit, stuff. I mean, sorry.
Oh, you say whatever you want.
Who wants to live in that kind of world,
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Rob, what are you drinking? It looks green. Are you drinking some sort of a power smoothie? What are you drinking?
This is from Costco. My wife buys it. It's got all kinds of vegetables in it. I don't know. My wife also says, what do you want to eat? I said, whatever you make. I don't care. As long as you make it, I'll buy it.
Simple. That's a good plan. So do you still surf? You still go out in the water? You make it in the water?
I do, but not like I used to. And it's not that I don't want to. It's just that my back is, I got launched onto the rocks and had my head dropped on my head at China Walls, and I got scalped. And ever since then, I also did something to my lower lumbar or whatever. And so it's hard for me to get up fast in surfing. It's all about getting up fast, So I do go surfing, but I had my time in the water. I'm 68 years old, so I had a lot of, started at 10, so 78 years, 58 years on the waves, and I don't want to be a pig. But I go out over here seconds.
Yeah.
Kayak, surf.
You still surf China Walls at the wall, or not since you hit it?
No, I will. I'm not afraid. It's just that, I can't get up, and I just laugh to myself. I'm like, God, what a kook, man. I gotta, I should be up. I'm like, I guess, when something comes naturally to you, and then you have to stretch and exercise and do all this stuff to do something that you used to do like that, it's goofy. It's a little bit goofy.
I used to surf China Walls too.
Used to.
Yeah. That's why I grew up surfing until one day I was surfing, like, just normal, like sunset, and the waves, they get kind of nice around sunset. Everyone jumps out. Bunch of like girls and guys up at the top of the wall with the music. It's fun, right? Drinking or whatever. And I was paddling for a wave. It's probably like maybe 2.5, 3 foot set, surging at the wall. And I'm paddling. And as I'm pushing up, like I've done for the last 15 years, because I've been surfing since I was 14 at that time, I get up and someone from the side on the wall, I guess they were trying to get out, and the wave like dumped them on top of me. And I couldn't see them. So we both went over the falls on the set. And I got scars now. It slammed me against the wall. And I just assumed the position. I said, you know what? I'm going over the falls at China Walls. Someone fell on me. We're wrapped and tangled up. It slammed both of us, like pulled us apart. I just curled up in the fetal position, and I waited for that impact. And then bam, on my lower back, just smashed me, like destroyed me. Leash broke, blood everywhere, right? I'm like, I thought I was paralyzed, and I couldn't get up. I couldn't use my legs, and everything was black. But I was waiting for myself to float up like we do. Don't panic, just stay calm. And I get up, get out of the water, and I said, you know what? I made it out. The guy who fell on me, he didn't make it out. Like, he passed away, and they were resuscitating him, and he was all bust up. So it was like, then it got turned nighttime, and then the lights and paramedics and fire. I was like, you know what? I've seen way too many people lose their life at the wall in front of me. And then this time it actually could have been me.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I'm cashing out of this game right now. Not that I'll never surf again. I surfed at China Walls after. But you know what? Now I have more calculated risks. I got 2 daughters. I got a wife.
Yeah.
I got a business with people I support. You know, our company supports. And I said, you know, I got to weigh the risk. So.
No, that's the same way I feel too. I mean, like I used to live right there, and here I am coming up on a rock, and you know, south swell's coming this way, right? From behind a west, and it throws me up on the rocks, drags me upside down, backwards, you know, on a rock, scraping me, then drops me over onto the low tide, onto my head. And I was thinking, like, wow, this is it, you know? Because I could tell, I felt, oh, my hair is all like over here, it's flapping down, you know? And so I said, I told these kids, I said, don't, they said, I'll take you up, Uncle. I said, no, don't take me up. I'm not going up. I'm not getting on my board. I'm going to stay under the water because it's safer. And then I said, there's a boat out there. Hail them, tell them to come in. And they came in, they picked me up, took me to the boat ramp. I had an ambulance and a fire engine there for me. And it was brutal, man.
You know, you're absolutely right when you said, don't take me up onto the rocks.
Right.
That's where they get you. Like, you're not going to be able to make it out in time. The next one comes smash you and you're done.
Yeah. That's how most of the people die out here, is trying to get out of the water.
Yeah, right. They get hit. They go into the impact zone. They're trying to get out right there. And then, bam.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what a life lesson right there. Not only at China Walls, but kind of about being resilient, making it through and making better choices, you know, learning from others' experience. And until you get smashed on the wall, you don't think it's going to happen to you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's amazing. And I'd like to tell you one more situation where I got out of a sport because of something that happened. This one is, I was a canoe paddler, and we were champions. We won every race, and we broke every record one year. Not even close. And at the end of the year, I thought, you know, we won every race, broke every record, and they still stand today. And I said, I'm getting out when the going's good. You know, I don't think I'll be able to do that again because the people are changed and, you know, things change. And then, you know, who knows what's going to happen. So I said, I quit paddling. So I hung up the paddle. I used to watch boxing. I said, man, if I was ever a champion, I would quit, you know?
Yeah.
Before you get all, you know, like Cassius Clay got those cuckoo and stuff on your body, man.
So you retire at the top of your game, like Michael Jordan.
Right. Quit, brother, quit. That's what I did with locomotion too.
Yeah, I mean, you
get out early. Yeah, it was good. And as soon as I had a party for the closing of it, within 2 weeks, Japan bubble breaks. You know, war starts in Iran and everything. It's like, what? Man, perfect timing.
Yeah, same thing with my father-in-law. He run the Pint Size Corporation. They brought Haagen-Dazs to Hawaii and distributed all the Malona bars and CPK pizzas and Blue Bunny and dryers and all the big, huge, right? I asked him the questions too. I don't think he's going to be on my show. He's a little more reserved, not as animated as you, Rob. But he said the same thing. When he sold his company, he sold at the height. And after that, the big box stores started buying direct and not through his distribution. And those were a huge part of the business. So he tells me those stories about timing, and he couldn't predict it. You know, he didn't know what's going to happen, but he kind of saw the signs. People, you know, circumventing local distributors, having national deals, going direct to Walmart and Costco and Sam's Club. This is big deals, you know. They're learning from the timing aspect. That's why I brought that up earlier. It just, you don't know until you get past it. And when you look back, whew, there was something in you that knew it. You felt something, or maybe you're just lucky.
Yeah.
What'd you step in?
Or both. No, but
Yeah.
I agree. A lot of people say location, location, location. I say timing, 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 because you could have a great location in Waikiki and get killed during a bad time. You could have a crappy place in Makaha, and all of a sudden there's a big something good, and all of a sudden, the space station's going to land over there or something like that. All of a sudden the values go up. So it's all about timing. So
Maybe his computer died. You've reached Rob Burns. All right, so we got knocked out. Let's get the microphones queued up for audio. Check 1 2. Bringing it back for me and back for you, because we got to get it right. Yo, I got to give a clue, because I never stop this. Yo, it's all brand new from the time that I start to the time that I close my eyes. Bring it right back a surprise. Never seen it like this before, because I never put it down like this before. That's right. Timing.
Yeah, so you got 12 years. So when you first buy, you have limited amount, maybe 4 times. So unless you start buying other ones, but you got to get in the rhythm. But it also, the nice thing about it is it's predictable, unlike the stock market. The stock market's like in and out, in and out. I am in the stock market, but it's more predictable, it's safer. Because when it's something's that, like, you're just ready to jump off a cliff, it comes back, and then you don't sell, and then take it off the table, and then wait. So that's the thing, is you want to wait so you can take it off for maybe 4 or 5 years. In that time, certain people are gonna, like, imagine that tread. It's about 11 inches long. It's made out of wood. And every once in a while, the wood has a little crack in it. Those are the guys that are overextended. When everyone else, you're not going to get a deal because they won't sell, or they just won't even list it. But these guys are like up to here, and they're about ready to get foreclosed on. Those are the guys those are the deals.
Yeah, they just can't hold them. Over leveraged.
Yeah, but most of the time, or they just have something happen in their life. Someone dies, there's a divorce, whatever.
There was one more, the 3 Ds.
Which are
death, divorce, or disease.
Yeah.
Those are those 3 Ds in real estate. What do you see this opportunity right now? It's November 23rd, 2020. There's a big shift in technology. So we're all working from home, or a lot of us are working from home. Companies are realizing, I don't need this big office space. I don't need my retail locations because the malls don't have the same foot traffic, and technology has just sped us up. If not for anything else, something that's coming out of this situation we're in is technology has accelerated. Business had to evolve. The way we work and communicate with others has just evolved light years ahead. From your perspective, where do you think there's opportunity? Where do you see it? And what do you think would be beneficial just as people to remember or realize, or in this moment, like, what are you feeling has to be done, or what are you feeling?
You're a great interviewer. You have super good questions. So you want to do what you want to do, what you do good, because you'll be good at it. So if, like, for me, I'm not a technical person, so that's not my thing. However, I do know that if I was 27 instead of 67, I wouldn't be learning how to do this. There's so many things you can podcast and also live at home, do work out of your house. One of my friends is a teacher in California, and he's in Hawaii playing steel guitar and working in the daytime, and he's done early and so forth. And so, there's just a lot of opportunity. You just have to be aware and intuitive to what's going to be next. And that's something that you can't be taught, and you're not going to learn it in school. You have a better chance of learning it on the streets. That's why I said I went to the University of Hawaii, or on the off the books or the books that you can listen to, tapes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's the way. Those are the guys that did it. They're not talking about what could be done. Like most professors are really not that productive. There's no millionaires in there.
That's, yeah, maybe you find a rare case of someone giving back, but the guys who it's their job, I don't want to learn something from someone who hasn't done it. That's my personal take on it. Like, that's why I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to someone else like, hey, tell me about business and how you achieve
it.
do it. Well, I read this book and the book says I could refer back to page 35 because they memorized it. It's like, oh, you didn't do it.
You can read about people that did it, and at least that's a start. But you gotta jump in and you gotta start thinking, and it's not easy. That's why businesses, some guys make a lot of money, some guys don't make any. But the guy, did you ever see that show called, I don't know, it was about McDonald's, the guy that.
The founder.
Yeah,
I love
founder.
it.
Yeah.
I watched it like 20 times.
The guy was a relentless, loser, barely scraping by. And then he just hits it, You gotta be in the flight of a bullet to get hit,
Yeah. My dad always said something, and he still tells me to this day. He's like, oh, I'm proud of you and all this. But I take one thing from him that like it made so much sense. Must be present to win.
Exactly.
Like if you're not there, you're not there. Like how are you gonna know of anything? No opportunities won't come your way or
right. And you got to grab the opportunities when you see them. And I said something similar to Natalie her whole life. And I said, half the way to become successful is to show up at work. And show up, and show up, and show up, and show up. That's, if you're not there, you're not present. You're not going to win. That's classic.
Yeah. Rob, so a good question right here. And I think a lot of viewers, listeners, however they're consuming this right now, they're going to want to know, for you, how much of your success in life came from luck, or do you attribute it to hard work and hustle?
Well, I won't use the word luck. I would say that fortunate. I was fortunate to be raised in Hawaii. There's a million people that are struggling, right? I mean, a lot of people here are struggling because the pay and the cost, it's just, it's tough. Everything is expensive. So on that note, I would say I've been very fortunate to have the lifestyle that I had. My dad was very smart, book smart, but he always said, think. Don't regurgitate, because anybody can go to school and be good. And I said, well, not everybody, but I'll take your word for it. I wasn't good at it. That's why I went to the University of Hawaii instead of the University of Hawaii. But if you were to say, it's not luck, because there's so many people here, and I can't be that lucky that I keep doing the same. I can't be lucky every time. But one of the things I do is I try to listen to people older than me, and I try to learn from losers, and I try to learn from people that have been there and done that, and I really listen to them, because everybody has an opinion, but the right opinion is the one that's right for you, and you have to listen to them. And I know so many rich guys that love to share information with people, but they got to call them. They got to be present to win. Mm-hmm. So I have a friend that I buy stocks, the same stocks he buys. He tells me what to buy, I buy it. And people go, Rob, you don't even know what the name of the stock is. You just know the symbol. I said, listen, I know how to use a phone. I have no idea how it works. I drive a car all day. I have no idea how it works. I never will know. I don't care. As long as it gets me there, as long as I can talk on the phone, I'll talk. So He tells me what to buy, I buy. This last year, I bought a stock for 70 cents a share. Things at $44 now.
Wow.
He made zero money off of me because we're friends. He tells me stuff, I tell him stuff, and it's no skin off his butt. And a lot of people are like that. That real estate people, friends of mine. I mean, all kinds of businesses, because of course a lot of people make money in different ways. So, but none of them are like, I don't want to say anything because then you might get rich and I'm not going to get rich or something. It's like so much money out there.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And yeah. I hope that I can convince somebody to try something and don't give up. Keep trying to figure out why they're not being successful if they aren't being successful. For example, when I sold my company, I thought, I always enjoyed real estate, so I'm going to buy and sell real estate for myself. So I figure out, I have millions of dollars in the bank. I buy a property. I want to borrow, say, back then it was like 400, 500,000. Oh, you can't because you don't have a job. I said, yeah, but I got $3 million in the bank and I just bought this house for cash. Doesn't that matter? No, sorry, it doesn't matter. So the politicians eventually forced the banks to loan money to people that didn't deserve it. That's why we got in the financial crisis of 2008. But that's the only time that I could borrow money because all you had to have was a pulse. And a lot of people they keep borrowing, with no credit, history. And then they were part of the problem, became part of the problem. That's why people were dumping stuff at 10 cents on the dollar.
Stated income, stated assets.
Right.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it was crazy. But that might come back again, and I'm sure it will. This economy right now is sputtering. And if EA and some of these guys don't get it changed, it's going to be horrible. I don't know if you've ever done this, but I used to walk with my wife up the hill, and I'd stop to tie my shoe. I'd never catch her up again. You can't. She's just walking regular. I'm tying my shoe regular, tightening it up. I'm like this the whole time behind her. If I got to tie my other shoe, I'll be that far behind. So it's going to be very, very difficult for the people of Hawaii to catch up to where they were. It's almost impossible. With this length of time, you got, if you have a restaurant, you got to start selling more takeout.
There's something interesting that I just thought of right now. And I don't think I introduced how we actually got connected this round just about 20 years later. I'm going to tell the little story about must be present to win.
Right.
So a funny story is my last real job, I was a busboy at Outback Steakhouse in Hawaii Kai. So every night I would bus tables and get all gross and dirty. And if the dishwasher wasn't there, I'd have to wash dishes in the back. I'd roll the garbage can across the parking lot over to where Aloha gas station is. There's a dumpster there. And I would take out the trash, toss them in the dumpster. Now, sometimes that bag would break all over me. I'd be covered in juice and beer and cream sauce and steak and shrimp. It's just gross, food garbage. And I remember my dad seeing me one time. He was watching me walk across, putting out the garbage. And, he started from the bottom too. But there was a point where he said, you know what? I've done it. I was doing it for like almost 2 years. And he's like, my son, you're my son, and you don't need to be doing that. Jean-Paul, and he's telling me all my life, you're an entrepreneur, you need to make deals. And I was selling cars at the time. I was, starting my clothing line at that time. Like, I'm doing things, but I needed like a base. I needed, a safety net. And it wasn't until I made that switch to say, you know what? I'm looking at my paycheck. I don't know how the heck I'm going to buy a car for $5,000 at the time. I couldn't see it. The numbers did not make sense. And right. I was probably like 20 or 21, right? I didn't want to become a server and learn the alcohols because I'm not too interested in alcohol. So I didn't care. I don't want to mix a drink. It's not me. I don't drink really. And I saw other people making like $300 on Mother's Day tips. I'm like, man, I'm making like $25. This is wrong. I'm not in the right position. So I said, you know what? I'm going to end this right here. So I gave my 2 weeks and started doing my printing business. I started with signs and banners and stickers. Ended up doing a deal with Roy's Restaurant for 1,400 shirts. I just brokered it between some printers in Kalihi, and I just did the deal. I made like $2. I lowballed the deal. I didn't make enough on the deal. I lowballed it so hard. It was like $4 a shirt printed front and back. So I learned a part of the deal making. I go back to Hawaii Kai Town Center now, and the whole property is our partner. So we represent all advertising on the property, which is where you saw one of the 4-foot by 8-foot art pieces that we promote, you know, as like a local art gallery to give photographers and artists a platform to be seen because they can't afford to put it there. They're not going to buy it, but I feature them for free because I know it's giving other people a chance. And by bringing that opportunity out, you liked one of the photos. You called the number on the sign. He said,
that was number 2 though. That was the second one I liked.
Oh yeah, you like the one at Costa Rica, also our partners. But I was like,
no, the one at Taco Bell.
Yeah, Taco Bell.
Waikiki, yeah.
Yeah, the Waikiki. So Taco Bell, that's all part of Coca Marina's property.
Right.
And you wanted that deal. I was like, I'll tell you what, Rob, if you advertise there, I will give you that banner. You didn't advertise there, Rob. You got to pay to play. That's another rule. You must be present to win, but you got to pay to play. You didn't pay. But this time you brought it out. You said, hey, I really like that. I contacted my friend Tommy from, Pineapple Sunrise, give a shout out. And just by being present, I put something up. I was doing good for other people. You saw it and reached out to me 20 years later. And it came
more than once too.
Yeah, more than once. And then this time actually worked. You're persistent, man. You're like, oh, hey, when you saw that spot, why don't you give me the banner? So you finally got it for free. And I printed you a brand new one. For the record, everyone, I printed Rob a brand new one and I hand delivered it to his house in Portlock, which I must say is quite impressive. I saw the first one. I see the second one you're in now. It's very nice. It's absolutely living the dream.
That's right.
I'd say, Rob, what do you think about that phrase? People always say that. I'm living the dream. Living the dream.
Well, I used to use that in my advertising 20 years ago because this is living the dream. And all these realtors that were in my office there have been realtors for 50 years. And they say, Rob, when I die and come back, I'm going to be just like you. I say, don't wait because you might not come back. I mean, I don't believe in reincarnations. So just do it now. Don't wait. And that's what you did. You probably left that job and started a business and you risked. You took a chance. And I did the same thing. I worked one night at one of those restaurants like that. It was Dick's Fish Market. Mm-hmm. I worked one night and I'm looking at the money. I said, oh, I quit. One night I quit. I said, I'm not going to come back. This is ridiculous. I'd rather starve. Exactly. I'm going to make money or I'm going to starve, but I'm not going to work like this. Yeah.
I always said, you know what? I want to eat at Outback. I don't want to work there. I mean, granted, they keep it clean and like their food is legit. Their operation is tight. So I love their operation, but I just didn't want to be a part of their operation. Right. I wanted them to serve me some food because it looks so good and I can't eat it on the job. So much respect to Outback Steakhouse and Roy's Restaurant, Hawaii Kai Town Center, excellent partners. It all came to fruition. You just got to step up to that level and it's not overnight. We had to walk those same stairs, what did it say? On the path to success, you must take the stairs. Elevator's not in service.
Right, exactly. And if you keep going, sometime soon, someone will say, hey, you want to open a store here? You want to do this? You want to do that? And then if you come up with an idea first, you say, hey, you want to do this? You want to do that? And, that's where your thinking is all coming in because it's like you're taking a part of what people want and you're servicing them nicely. And that's, and like with this picture that I got, that's an excellent photo. I could tell. I mean, everything about it. Every time I just stand there in front of City Mill, I go, "Wow, that's so cool." You know, I started that thing, but you know, I have to say that I really like my freedom so much.
All right. So Rob, I'm going to wrap this up a little bit. You know, I gave you that free banner because you liked it so much. I saw the value in, like, it doesn't cost me much to print that, but to forge this friendship with you. And I think it's like a mentor session right now that is like one-on-one with us, but a lot of people are going to learn from this and to see an icon like you in Hawaii. So it's going to make it real for the local boys and girls coming up in Hawaii, or people who are, you know, older and just needed that last kick in the butt, needed some inspiration. I mean, you're there, you're the guy, you know, and I hope, you know, people look at me the same way, like, hey, you're doing so much. I'm still on the way up, man. I am not there yet, but
you never arrive, but you can try. You're still kind. Please, you know, give me a call. You can give them my number or put it on the screen if you want. But, you know, people have questions. I'm happy to answer them. I used to go to this school called Benjamin Parker, something like that in Kaneohe. And they used to always invite me, but I used to always tell the kids, you don't have to be good at school. They said, what are we doing bringing this guy in here? So they kicked me out of there. And so I haven't been back in years. But, you know, there's a lot of kids that aren't going to be good in school. That doesn't mean that their life is doomed for failure. That's what I was trying to say. I said, if you want to go to school and if you're good at it, go ahead and do it. If your parents want you to do it and you're okay about it, go ahead and do it. But if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Because you can make a lot of money,
Yeah.
with just hard work and thinking. That's what I'm about.
All right, Rob, you have any last comments, something that, you know, maybe that last kick in the butt someone needs that you can leave us with?
Well, I would say I'm really impressed with your father, what things he has to say, but we say it different way, but you know, it's a short life, make it a good life. Do what you can to be a good person and take care of yourself. Live with aloha, but make some money. That's the thing is, we live in a society where we have to have some money. So you don't have to steal money and you don't have to be crooked, but you need money. Otherwise, you don't have freedom. Because you have to have money to have freedom. So do what you love, and you'll, even if you're not that rich, but if you can make a living and you love what you do, it doesn't get you. Then you're living a life.